I'm Steve Lentini, and I'm your host for the podcast Different Thinking for Different Times. This is season 7 years of podcasting about how to expand from small-minded, limited thinking. Primal thinking is a term that David Baer uses, or R.J. Spina, low-frequency thinking, and I call it the acorn brain, small-minded thinking. And we have so many places where we can see examples today of small-minded thinking, whether it's in religion, one religion believing the other is one religion believing the other is wrong. The other believing that they're the only religion, and many believing that. And when you think of how small-minded that is, do you think it comes from an infinite creator, the creator of an infinite universe that we don't understand? That many people call it a simulation, they call it multiverses, that there's many universes happening all at once, and even in our lives, that there's many versions of us happening in all different universes all at once. Okay, so for me, it boils down to beyond my comprehension, beyond my understanding, and that yet we get so definite about how God is. So I wrote the book, You Missed God on the Way to the Mosque, the Temple, or the Church, How to See God Everywhere. It's available on Amazon. And my premise is humans, we have advanced our technology just in the last 50 years. But if you want to go back 100 years, our society has modernized. And yet we're still stuck in thinking about God as the same as over 2,000 years ago, the same voice that spoke to people over 2,000 years ago. So I have some questions for you to consider. I'm not trying to start a religion or change your mind. I'm just sharing what I learned on my near-death experience, November 18th, 2002, over 23 years ago. I was one with everything and nothing. Before that, 1 second before that, I was in intensive care with 2 friends at the end of my bed. The next second, I was one with everything and nothing, immense light, mercy, grace, totally unconditional love. But it's not like the way we think of things. It was way beyond my comprehension. First of all, there was no past or future. There was only the now, which is what I talk about, that God is in the now. God is never absent. We separate ourselves from the creator or the infinite or the goddess or the God. It doesn't matter what you call it. Even Lao Tzu knew that in 350 BC when his students used to ask him, what did he call the life force? And I'll paraphrase. Basically, he said, you cannot name that which has no name. And that's the idea that it's present everywhere in our lives. And then when you think of all the chaos and conflict in this existence, it's so we can learn and grow. If there was no chaos and conflict, we wouldn't even know we were alive. And you have such small-minded thinking today, even in our leadership, whether it's religion, still expounding on small-minded, limited thinking in a universe, very old concepts of God instead of modernized. So our society's modernized, but God didn't. God is still stuck in very old thinking. So that means we think we're better. And humans do that all the time. There's an elitist view always from whatever side of the spectrum you're on, whatever perspective you have. Most people believe from their perspective that they know better. It is so ridiculous and so humorous to me that I even see it in myself. I want to question my own thinking. From somewhere we all see the horizon is flat. That's the place where we want to make others wrong. The reason there's so many differences in this existence, whether it's different sexes, the ideas of how people define themselves, the races, the politics, the religions, is so we can learn to embrace it all, learn from it all, not make it all wrong from the perspective that I'm right. That's the hubris of the brain. And so we think still, based on most of today's religions that are still following concepts from thousands of years ago, that God is a transactional God. That's not what I experienced. It's not what Baruch Spinoza wrote about in the 1600s. Go read The God of Spinoza, Einstein used to say. When people asked him, what's your idea of God? Einstein also answered that question with this: the superior reasoning power that formed this unimaginable universe is my idea of God. So you think about your own small-minded beliefs and come to a new conclusion on your own or not. You can stay where you are. I don't care. I'm just sharing what I discovered, in that God is in the now. That's all there was. And the next scene, because I call it a scene and a scene and a scene, was a life review. And only the good I had done flashed before me. I could sense the presence of family and friends who had gone before me, who had passed, and then even people I gave money to, or bought a sandwich for, or helped in any way. Only the good I had done. Even people I smiled at. And I'm embarrassed to say I was 50 and had no idea how many lives I had touched, because I too was living in the transactional version of a higher power. There's nothing you need to do to gain God's love. God's love is unconditional. And what that means is, what I experienced was the now. The now, being in the now, is where God resides. The infinite power that created a universe, the Brahma, the Buddha, the Muhammad, the Christ, all of those consciousnesses were messengers from God. Christ said everything works together for good. He's purported to have said that because it was, all of those accounts are written many years after all these prophets passed, by the way. Muhammad said, what reaches you was never meant to miss you, and what misses you was never meant to reach you. And of course, they had to have a message that fit with the times. Christ was born in the time of transactional God belief, that you had to pray a certain way, live a certain way, eat a certain way, dress a certain way, and some of that still exists today. That's fine if that's what you believe. I'm not going to make any faith wrong. Christ's message was that if you believe in me, your sins have been forgiven. I believe, in my life review, there was no mention of any error or sin or mistakes. There was only mention of the lives I had touched, the good I had done. So let me ask you, how do you feel when you do good? Is there a reason for that? Because most people answer me. I would say, of the thousands I've asked, except for one guy who said, I don't know, I guess I feel good. Everyone answers it, yeah, I feel good when I do good. Why? Is that why we're here? And when it comes to sin, did you ever learn anything new without falling? Did you learn to walk without falling? Did you learn to ski or snowboard or drive without being nervous and worried, even make mistakes? Had your first accident? It's the same for living. You're not expected by God, who created this experience, for us never to fall. And think of this. What child would you condemn to burn in hell, to burn in flames forever? Which one of your children? If you don't have children, which one of your neighbor's children? Which one of your nephews and nieces or cousins? Which ones would you condemn to burn in flames forever? If you say, oh, I could never do that, then you think your love is greater than God's, the creator of this experience. There is darkness here, because we wouldn't know the light without darkness. There are people who perform horrendous evil acts, despotic leaders over the years. Again, we wouldn't make new choices if we didn't experience that. We wouldn't learn and grow. There are a group of people who believe that despotic leaders and people who commit a lot of evil, two things about it. One is they believe if you are a victim in this world, that perhaps you were the perpetrator in another existence, and that you're here to experience the karma of that. The other view is that people choose to become the despotic evil characters. They take that role on so that humanity can learn and grow. I'm not trying to convince you of anything, and I wasn't shown that part. What I was shown is unconditional love is loving the moment and learning that everything is a gift in this existence. How could it not be a gift? That means the people And the events that bother us the most are actually there to wake us up to a new behavior, something we have to learn. And you see, humans have this elitist view somewhere that if somebody bothers us, well, they're just an obnoxious idiot. Could they be showing us that we've been obnoxious idiots, what we look like when we do that? And the events that bother us are here to teach us to make new choices. I don't know why I was only shown the good I had done, except to spread the message, and that God was in the now. Literally, 1 second in intensive care, 2 friends at the end of my bed. The next second, I was one with everything and nothing, with the infinite, one with the creator of the universe. In fact, I say we shouldn't call death death, we should call it what's next. But I'm not trying to start a new church or a new movement. I just want people to consider it. Maybe come to a new conclusion that you have small-minded thinking. I know I still do, by the way. I tell my clients in coaching classes and groups I meet with, I haven't found the way. If I ever tell you I found the way to overcome this little voice in my head that suggests a lot of things, judging people, judging moments, good or bad, that little voice didn't go with me in what's next when I was one with God, one with the infinite, one with the creator, one with the goddess, because there were no separations. There's no need to have all the different identities when you're back with God. We're all split up into all these different ideas and identities so that we can learn to grow and appreciate one another, not tolerate, or worse, not hate. But that's up to you. If you would not choose one of your own to burn in hell forever or burn in the flames forever because they made a mistake and did something wrong in this existence, then you believe your love is greater than God's. But see, God's love isn't like loving our neighbor or our friend or our lover or our children. God's love is way beyond that, because God's love is embracing the moment and everything in it. There's no judgment, at least in my experience. So you can continue to believe in a transactional God. Many people have, and many people have followed other leaders like Jim Jones or the sneaker cult or Waco. I mean, people follow others blindly without ever questioning. That's why I say, if I ever say I found the way, run away. In my books, you might be full of shit if, and then when Amazon wouldn't advertise it, I wrote, you might be full of number 2. After all, we know better, the woke edition. I don't make fun of anyone, just pointing out the belief that anyone knows better, the elitist view that seems to be pronounced in the United States anyway, with our 2-party system, but also with religious leaders. Anyone believing they found the way, they have the way, that God told them there's only one way. It's small-minded thinking. Whatever is small-minded thinking didn't come from the creator of a universe that we still haven't figured out, that we're still discovering things that baffle the smartest, the greatest physicists and scientists. And it's to get over ourselves, is to laugh when people say they found the way. You need to do it this way, or we're right. You're not right, we're right. You're wrong. Laugh. Laugh at them, laugh at yourself. It's all happening for a reason, so that we can learn and grow. If nothing ever bothered you, if no person ever bugged you, how would you ever learn and grow? I mean, you could live your whole life making others wrong. That's what this brain does. The small-minded thinker, the acorn brain. The most powerful thing to overcome is always wanting to be right. And it's a hard conversation for most people. It's a level of self-awareness, though, that'll change your life. Living in the moment, in the now, and embracing everything that shows up as God, and especially the most challenging moments, the most challenging people, because that's God doing you a favor, knocking on your door to wake you up. I mean, literally, 1 second I was fine, the next second I got whacked by a 2x4. God woke me up to this for a reason, to share the message. It's time to bring our view of God into modern times. And I'm not making the idea of a transactional God wrong. What I'm saying is, if you're going to church and then you're making people wrong on the way home or on the way to the church, you're missing God in the now. There's no place that the creative life force is missing or absent. That's what the now is. And you can surrender into it and be grateful. that God is teaching you and you're growing by all the things that bother you and the people that bug you. You're getting stretched. And faith is a wonderful thing, and going to church is a community. That's a wonderful thing. I don't make it wrong. Funny, think about this for a minute, about all the churches that send missionaries around the world to help people advance in other societies, other countries. Many people go to Africa to help them with sanitation and water filtration. They're helping them advance. Think about that. We have an urge and a desire to help people advance, and yet we're stuck in the model of God that is thousands of years old. The message was always delivered for the time. And remember, most people that delivered those messages, like Christ or Muhammad, or people rebelled against it. Christ was crucified. Muhammad fought battles to try to convert everyone over to the Islam faith because everyone else was wrong. Now, Islam had the vision. There's a group in Islam, I believe the largest group, that believes they're here to save the oppressed. And that's why they did so many conquering of people that were oppressing others. But it was also so that they could spread the message of Islam. They're all wonderful messages. Christianity got over their fighting, although Protestants and Catholics did fight the same faith for many years. Same with all faiths. The Muslims today have Shia and Sunni, and they fight back and forth because one's right, the other's wrong. Think about that. All the different Jewish traditions. So you have the Vedic traditions, many evolved from Abraham. The Jewish traditions, the Christian traditions, and the Muslim traditions all are shaded under the same tree, Abraham. And yet we're killing people because they believe differently. If one individual changes, I've done my job. Why are communities from different churches out doing good in the world, helping people advance, but believing in the same God stuck in thousands of years ago? Communities do good. Food banks, shelters for homeless, shelters for battered women, food pantries, food kitchens, and sending missionaries all over the world to help people advance. Think about that. It's a desire we have to do good. Why is that? There's nothing you have to do to earn God's love. I can't say I was sin-free when that happened to me, when I experienced what's next, the infinite, the unconditional love, only in the moment. There was no past or future. I couldn't connect the events until I was back in intensive care. After this one last thing, I was asked a question, just like this: stay or go? And my consciousness surrendered with thy will be done. Didn't matter. Stay there, come back here. And so every day I wake up here, I know I have work to do. You wake up there, it's a totally different existence. It's beyond our comprehension, or at least my own. It might be beyond yours, I don't know. So, by the way, if you have questions or you want to challenge me or you want to send me a question for me to answer on this show, email me, steve@stevelentini.com. Put a Steve here and @stevelentini.com. You want to come on the show and be a guest and challenge me? Fine. I'd love to have you come. Email me again, steve@stevelentini.com. Remember, if you come on as a guest, I might just ask you, does that sound like small-minded thinking? If it sounds small-minded, it didn't come from the creator of an infinite universe that's still to this day beyond our comprehension, with all our modern tools, with our super colliders and all the experiments. It's still beyond our understanding, our comprehension. So remember, start to notice where your thinking is small-minded. Just work to let it be and not decide that that's the way. Start to question it. What's another possibility? What's limitless thinking? What's powerful thinking as compared to primal thinking, where you're judging everyone? If you have questions, again, here, I'll show you again. Email me, steve@stevelentini. Go do good. Let's do good. Tell me how you feel when you do good. Thank you. I'm grateful.